7 years ago, Daisy Adeyemi spent one night with a billionaire that changed her life forever. They made promises under the Seoul sunrise, exchanged numbers, planned to meet again. Then she disappeared. What Seo Hwan-gyum did not know was that Daisy tried desperately to contact him. What he did not know was that someone intercepted every message, every email, every attempt she made to reach him. What he definitely did not know was that 6 months after that night, Daisy gave birth to his daughter. Now, 7 years later, fate just forced them back together. Through a business contract neither of them can refuse. Daisy has 3 months to plan his charity gala. 3 months to keep her daughter hidden. 3 months before the truth she buried comes back to destroy everything. But someone else knows her secret, and they are about to make sure the whole world finds out. Before you continue with this story, do me a quick favor. If you love romance stories that make your heart race, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Trust me, you will want to see how this one ends. The conference room went completely silent. I stood there frozen, holding my presentation folder so tight the edges crumpled in my hands. My assistant had just announced the client's name, and every person in that room turned to look at me, because they all knew my face had gone pale. Seo Hwan-gyum. Of all the companies in Seoul, of all the corporations in South Korea, it had to be his. "Miss Adeyemi, are you all right?" my assistant whispered. I nodded, even though I was definitely not all right. 7 years. I had spent 7 years building my event planning company from nothing, working 18-hour days, taking clients nobody else wanted, proving myself in a country that still looked at me twice because I came from Togo. 7 years of making sure our paths would never cross again. And now this. "We're meeting him in 2 hours, my assistant continued. "This is huge for us, Daisy. If we plan his charity gala, every major corporation in Seoul will want to work with us." She was right. I knew she was right. But she did not know what I knew. She did not know about the night 7 years ago. She did not know about the promises we made while walking through Seoul as the sun came up. She did not know that I left without saying goodbye. And she definitely did not know about Amara. I took a breath and straightened my shoulders. Prepare everything. I want our proposal to be perfect. Professional. I could be professional. It had been 7 years. He probably did not even remember me. But I was lying to myself, and I knew it. 2 hours later, I walked into CO Group headquarters, and my heart hammered so loud I thought security could hear it. The building was all glass and steel and money. The kind of place that reminded you exactly how different his world was from mine. The receptionist smiled and directed me to the 40th floor. The elevator ride felt like it took both seconds and years at the same time. When the doors opened, a woman in a neat suit greeted me. "Miss Adeyemi, welcome. Chairman Seo is expecting you." Chairman. He had become chairman. Of course he had. 7 years was a long time for someone like him to climb even higher than he already was. She led me down a hallway and opened a door to a large meeting room. 5 executives sat around the table, all of them looking at tablets and documents, but I only saw one person. Seo Hwan-gyum sat at the head of the table, and the moment I entered, his eyes locked on mine. He recognized me instantly. I watched his expression change, shock first, then something that looked like relief, mixed with anger, mixed with 100 other emotions I could not name. He stood up so fast his chair rolled backward. "Daisy," he said, and my name and his voice after 7 years made my chest hurt. The other executives looked confused. One of them cleared his throat. "Chairman Seo, do you know Miss Adeyemi?" Hwan-gyum did not take his eyes off me. "We have met before." The understatement of the century. I forced myself to speak, to sound normal, to sound like a businesswoman, and not like someone whose entire past just walked back into her present. It was a long time ago. "I am here to discuss your charity gala." "Everyone leave," Hwan-gyum said. The executives blinked. "Sir?" I said leave, now. They gathered their things quickly and filed out. The door clicked shut, and suddenly, it was just the two of us in a room that felt way too small. Now back to the story. "Where did you go?" His voice was quiet, but I heard every word like he shouted them. 7 years, Daisy. 7 years and not one message, not one call, nothing. I set my folder on the table to give my hands something to do. I had to go home. Family emergency. For 7 years? I came back to Korea after 6 months. Then why did I never hear from you? Because I was pregnant and terrified. Because I overheard your family talking about how any scandal would destroy you. Because I chose to protect my daughter over telling you the truth. But I could not say any of that. Things changed, I said instead. We both moved on. Moved on? He laughed, but there was no humor in it. I looked for you. I went back to the university. I asked everyone who might have known you. I tried every way to find you. My heart cracked a little more. Juan Guillaume, please. Please what? Please pretend we did not spend an entire night talking about our dreams? Please pretend I did not tell you things I never told anyone? Please act like it meant nothing? It was one night, I whispered. It was everything. The air between us felt electric and dangerous. I wanted to run and I wanted to stay, and both options felt impossible. I need this job, I finally said. My company needs this contract. If you cannot work with me professionally, I will leave right now, and we can both forget this happened. Forget? He stepped closer, and I saw details I had tried to erase from my memory. The tiny scar above his eyebrow from a childhood accident he told me about. The way his jaw tensed when he was holding back emotion. I have not forgotten a single detail about that night, Daisy. Not one. Neither had I, but admitting that would open doors I had sealed shut for good reason. Do you want my company to plan your event or not? I asked. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he nodded once and returned to his seat. Sit. Show me your proposal. Just like that, we pretended to be strangers conducting business. I opened my folder with shaking hands and began my presentation. I talked about themes and vendors and timelines. He asked questions about budget and capacity and media coverage. Anyone watching would think we were just a CEO and an event planner discussing a gala. But under the table, my hands twisted together, and across from me, his foot tapped a rhythm that meant he was anxious, a detail I remembered from 7 years ago when we sat in a cafe at 3 a.m, and he told me about the pressure of living up to his family name. Your proposal is thorough, he said when I finished. When can you start? Immediately. Good. I want to be personally involved in every decision. My stomach dropped. That is not usually how this works. Clients typically approve major choices, but the details are handled by my team. I am not a typical client. His eyes held mine. We will have weekly meetings, you and me. This was a terrible idea. Spending more time with him was the exact opposite of what I needed. But this contract could change everything for my company. Fine, I agreed. Weekly meetings. Starting tomorrow. Dinner meeting, 7 o'clock. Dinner is not necessary. We can meet here in your office. I prefer dinner. He stood and handed me a business card with an address handwritten on the back. Do not be late. Then he walked out, leaving me alone in the conference room with my heart racing and my carefully built walls already starting to crack. I got home that evening, and the moment I opened the door, a small hurricane crashed into my legs. Maman, Amara wrapped her arms around me. You are late. Mrs. Kim said we could not have dinner until you came home. I lifted my 6-year-old daughter and kissed her forehead. Sorry, sweetheart. Big meeting today. Did you get the job? I did. She cheered and wiggled down from my arms. Then we should celebrate. Can we have jollof rice? My heart swelled. Even though Amara had been born in Lomé and raised mostly in Seoul, she loved Togolese food as much as Korean dishes. Tomorrow, I promise. Tonight, Mrs. Kim made kimchi stew. Our neighbor and part-time nanny appeared from the kitchen. How did it go? Good. Thank you for watching her. Mrs. Kim smiled and gathered her things. Anytime. Amara, be good for your mother. I am always good, Amara declared, which made both of us laugh because she was smart and sweet, and also incredibly stubborn when she wanted to be. After Mrs. Kim left, I helped Amara with her homework, while fighting the urge to think about tomorrow's dinner. But of course I failed. How could I sit across from Juan Guillaume and pretend everything was fine? How could I look at him and not see Amara's eyes staring back at me? Maman, you are not listening. Amara poked my arm. Sorry, what did you say? I asked if you could help me with this Korean sentence. Teacher says my grammar is perfect, but I want it to be extra perfect. I looked at her homework and felt the familiar mixture of pride and fear. She was so bright, switching between French and Korean and English without even thinking about it. She got that from both of us, not that she knew. Your sentence is already correct, I told her. But if you want to make it sound more natural, Try this." She wrote down my suggestion, and then looked up at me with those eyes, those unmistakable eyes that were not mine. "Mamong, do you think my father was smart like us?" My breath caught. She asked sometimes, not often, but enough that I had prepared answers. "I think you are smart all on your own," I said carefully. "That comes from you, sweetheart. But I must look like him, right? Because I do not look like you." She was right. Amara had my smile and my stubborn chin, but her eyes and the shape of her face and the way her hair fell, those were all Hwangyom. "You are beautiful," I said instead of answering directly. "Now finish your homework so we can watch a show before bed." She accepted the change of subject and bent over her notebook again. I watched her and felt the weight of my choices pressing down. Was I protecting her, or just protecting myself? Would she forgive me one day for keeping her father away? Would he forgive me if he ever found out? That night after Amara fell asleep, I stood in her doorway and watched her breathe. She looked peaceful and safe and loved. That was what mattered, not the merger deals and family politics and media scandals that would swallow her whole if the truth came out. I had made the right choice 7 years ago. I had to keep believing that. The next evening I changed my outfit 4 times before settling on something professional, but not too formal. Dinner meeting, I reminded myself. This was work. The address Hwangyom gave me turned out to be a restaurant I had never been to, the kind of place that did not have prices on the menu because if you had to ask, you probably should not be eating there. The host recognized Hwangyom's name immediately and led me to a private room in the back. He was already there, jacket off and sleeves rolled up, looking at his phone. He stood when I entered. "You came," he said. "You are my client." "Of course I came. I thought you might run again." The words stung because they were fair. I did not run the first time. I left because I had to. "Then explain it to me. Make me understand." I sat down across from him. "Can we just focus on the gala?" "No. Hwangyom." "Daisy, 7 years ago you told me about growing up in Lomé, about your father dying when you were young, about your mother working 3 jobs to send you to school. You told me how you won the scholarship to study in Seoul, and how terrified you were, but also excited. You told me your dreams of starting your own business and proving that you could succeed anywhere. We talked for hours, and you made me feel like I was not just the Seo family heir, like I was just a person, and then you vanished." I looked down at my hands. "My mother got sick. Very sick. I had to go home immediately." "I know. I figured that out later when I was searching for you. But you came back to Korea." "After 6 months, yes. And you never contacted me." I tried. The lie came out smooth. I had practiced it in my head so many times it almost felt true. "But you had disappeared too. The news said you were involved in some family business situation. I assumed you had moved on." "Moved on," he repeated. "My uncle tried to stage a coup and take over the company. I spent a year fighting to keep my position and protect my family's legacy. It was hell, and the only thing that kept me going was remembering that someone, somewhere, had seen me as just Hwangyom, not the chairman, not the heir, just me." My chest tightened. "I am sorry you went through that. Are you married?" The question caught me off guard. "What?" "I looked into your background before our meeting. You run a successful company, you have a good reputation, but there is no mention of a husband. Are you married?" "No." "Engaged?" "No." "Dating someone?" "That is not your business." "So no." He leaned back. "Neither am I. In 7 years I have not seriously dated anyone, because nobody else was you." "Please stop," I whispered. "Why? Does it bother you to know that you have been the standard I measured everyone against, that I have been stuck in one night while you apparently moved on just fine?" "I did not move on fine," I snapped. "You do not know anything about my life. Then tell me." "No." We stared at each other, and the tension felt thick enough to cut. A server knocked softly and entered with menus. We ordered without really looking at the options, and then we were alone again. "I want to understand," Hwangyom said quietly. "Help me understand why we are sitting here as strangers when we used to be something more. We were never something more. We had one night. Stop saying that like it diminishes what happened." "What do you want from me?" I asked, frustration finally bubbling over. "You want me to say that night mattered? Fine, it mattered. You want me to say I thought about you after I left? I did. But 7 years passed, and we are different people now, and dragging up the past will not change anything. What if I want to change things? My heart skipped. What? What if I want a chance to see if that connection we had was real, or just a moment in time? What if I want to know who you became in these 7 years? That is impossible. Why? Because you have a daughter you do not know about. Because telling you the truth will turn all our lives upside down. Because I am terrified. Because some things are better left alone, I said instead. The food arrived and we ate in heavy silence. Every bite felt like swallowing stones. Halfway through the meal, Hwang Gyom set down his chopsticks. I will make you a deal, he said. Plan my gala. Work with me for the next 3 months. If by the end you still want to walk away and never see me again, I will let you go. But give me 3 months to prove that what we had was worth finding again. And if I say no, then I will respect that. I will find another event planner, and you will never have to see me again. It was a trap, and we both knew it. If I said no, I lost the biggest contract of my career. If I said yes, I risked everything. But I had built my entire life on calculated risks. 3 months, I agreed. Strictly professional. Of course, he said, but the small smile on his face told me he had already won something. I just hoped I had not lost everything. The first week of working with Hwang Gyom felt like walking on a tightrope while juggling knives. Every meeting started professional and ended with him asking questions that had nothing to do with the gala. Do you still drink your coffee with too much sugar? He asked on Tuesday, while we reviewed the guest list. That is not relevant to the event, I replied without looking up. You used to say it reminded you of the sweet café au lait your mother made in Lomé. I set down my pen. Are we planning a gala or taking a trip down memory lane? Can we not do both? No. But he smiled, like my annoyance amused him, and we kept working. On Thursday we met at the venue, a historic hotel that Hwang Gyom's company had recently acquired. The ballroom was massive and elegant, and I was already imagining how to transform it when Hwang Gyom appeared beside me. What are you thinking? He asked. I am thinking we could use the balcony for the silent auction, put the main stage here, and create smaller conversation areas near the windows. That is not what I meant. I turned to face him. Then what did you mean? I meant, what are you thinking right now, in this moment, standing here with me? The honest answer was that I was thinking about how easy it would be to fall back into the way we used to talk, the way we used to share thoughts without filtering them. But I could not say that. I am thinking my daughter has a piano recital tonight and I need to leave in an hour, I said instead. His expression changed. You have a daughter? I realized my mistake immediately. I had been so careful not to mention Amara, and now I had just thrown it out there like it was nothing. Yes, I said carefully. How old? 6. I watched him do the mental math and hold my breath. 7 years since we met minus 6-year-old daughter equals she got pregnant right after I left. But his face showed nothing except curiosity. What is her name? Amara. That is beautiful. What does it mean? Grace. It means grace in Igbo, though we are not Igbo. I just loved the name. You never mentioned her father, he said quietly. Because he is not part of our lives. His loss. The words were simple, but the way he said them made my throat tight. If he only knew he was talking about himself. I really do need to go, I said. Of course. We can finish this tomorrow. I gathered my things quickly, but as I reached the door, Hwang Gyom called out. Daisy? I turned. I would like to meet her someday. Your daughter. Why? Because she is part of your life, and I am trying to understand your life. I left without answering because I did not trust my voice. That night I sat in the school auditorium and watched Amara play a simple Mozart piece with fierce concentration. Her little fingers moved across the keys, and when she finished, she looked into the audience until she found me, and her whole face lit up. This was my world, this perfect, uncomplicated love between mother and daughter. Hwang Gyom could not be part of it. But the universe apparently had other plans. The following Monday, my regular babysitter called in sick an hour before I was supposed to meet Hwang Gyom at a venue. Mrs. Kim was visiting her own daughter. I called everyone I could think of and came up empty. Amara, I said, kneeling down to her level. How would you feel about coming to work with Maman today? Her eyes went wide. Really? I can see what you do? You would have to be very quiet and very well behaved. I am always well behaved. That was debatable, but I was out of options. I dressed her in her favorite dress and gave her my old tablet loaded with educational games. If you get bored, you can play on this, but remember, quiet. Quiet like a mouse, she promised. We arrived at the hotel and I prayed that Hwang-gyom would be late for once. Of course he was not. He was standing in the lobby looking at his phone, and when he glanced up and saw me with Amara, he went very still. I watched him take in every detail. Amara's face, her eyes, the way she held my hand. I am sorry, I said quickly. Childcare emergency. We can reschedule if this is inconvenient. No, it is fine. He crouched down to Amara's height. You must be Amara. I am Seo Hwang-gyom. Amara looked at me for permission. I nodded and she turned back to him. You are Mamon's client, she said in perfect Korean. I am. Your Korean is excellent. I also speak French and English. Mamon says being multilingual is a gift. Your Mamon is very wise. He glanced up at me and I saw something flicker in his expression. She has your mother's smile. Everyone says I look like my father, Amara replied matter-of-factly. The air between us froze. Do they? Hwang-gyom asked softly. Yes, but I have never met him, so I do not know if it is true. Maybe people are just being polite. I needed to end this conversation immediately. Amara, why don't you sit over there and play on the tablet while Mr. Seo and I talk about work? She skipped over to a chair near the window, and I turned to Hwang-gyom, ready to apologize again, but the look on his face stopped me. 6 years old, he said. Yes. When is her birthday? My heart hammered. April 14th. 7 years ago we met in June. I am aware of how math works. Daisy, do not, I warned. Do not ask questions you do not want the answers to. What if I do want the answers? We have a walkthrough to finish. Can we please just focus on that? He stared at me for a long moment, and I could see him thinking, calculating, wondering. But finally he nodded. We walked through the space and discussed logistics, but I felt his eyes drift to Amara every few minutes. She was being perfect, quietly playing her games and looking at the hotel like it was a palace. At one point she got up and wandered over to us. Maman, can I ask a question? Of course, sweetheart. Why does this man keep staring at me? Hwang-gyom actually laughed, surprised. I am sorry. I did not mean to stare. You just remind me of someone. Who? Myself, when I was young. Amara tilted her head, studying him. I do not see it. You are very tall, and I am very short. Give yourself time. You will be tall, too. Do you have children? She asked, with the blunt curiosity only 6-year-olds possessed. No, I do not. Why not? Amara, I interrupted. That is a personal question. You always say asking questions is how we learn. There are polite questions and impolite questions. She considered this. Is asking about children impolite? Sometimes. Hwang-gyom crouched down again. It is okay. The answer is that I have not met the right person to have a family with yet. Mama has not met anyone either, Amara announced. She says she is too busy for dating. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. Is that so? Hwang-gyom looked up at me with barely contained amusement. Amara, enough. Go back to your games. She returned to her chair, and I refused to meet Hwang-gyom's eyes. Too busy for dating, he repeated. She is 6. She does not understand nuance. She seems pretty smart to me. I think she understands plenty. We finished the walkthrough, and as we headed toward the exit, Amara suddenly grabbed Hwang-gyom's hand. Thank you for letting me come to Maman's work, she said solemnly. You are nicer than I thought you would be. What did you think I would be like? He asked, charmed. Boring. Adults are usually boring when they talk about work. But you made Maman smile, and she does not smile a lot when she talks about work. I did not know whether to be mortified or touched. Hwang-gyom shook her hand seriously. It was an honor to meet you, Amara. I hope I see you again. Maybe, she said, if you keep making Maman smile. In the car on the way home, Amara chattered about the hotel and how fancy it was, but then she got quiet and looked at me. Mama, do you think my father was nice like Mr. Seo? I gripped the steering wheel tighter. I think your father is a good person who would love you very much if he knew you. Then why does he not know me? It is complicated, sweetheart. Adults always say that when they do not want to explain things. She was right. But how could I explain that her father was the very man she had just met? That he made me smile because 7 years ago he made me fall in love in a single night? That I was terrified of what would happen if he found out the truth? I promise when you are older I will explain everything, I said. How much older? We will see. She accepted this with a sigh and went back to looking out the window. That night after she fell asleep, I stood in the shower and let myself cry. Watching Hwan Gyom interact with Amara had cracked something inside me. He was so gentle with her, so genuinely interested. He would be a good father, and I was denying both of them that chance. But I was also protecting them from the chaos that would come if the truth emerged. I had to remember that. The next day, a package arrived at my office. There was no return address, just my name, written in block letters. My assistant brought it to my desk. This came for you. I opened it carefully and my blood went cold. Inside was a photograph, 7 years old, slightly faded, showing Hwan Gyom and me walking down a Seoul street at dawn. His jacket was draped over my shoulders. We were both laughing at something. I had never seen this photo before. I did not know anyone had taken it. There was no note, no explanation, nothing except the photograph. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone and called Hwan Gyom. Daisy? He answered on the first ring. We need to meet now. What happened? Not over the phone. Where are you? My office. Come up. I grabbed the package and drove to CO Group headquarters. The receptionist waved me through, and I went straight to the executive floor. Hwan Gyom was waiting in the hallway, and the moment he saw my face, his expression changed. What is wrong? I handed him the package. He pulled out the photograph and went completely still. Where did you get this? It arrived at my office this morning. No return address, no note. He studied the image. I have never seen this before. I did not know anyone took photos that night. Neither did I. Who sent it? I do not know. He looked at me and I saw fear in his eyes. Real fear. This is not random. Someone has been watching us, maybe for years. The thought made my skin crawl. What do they want? I do not know yet, but we need to find out. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important. This story gets more intense from here, and the secrets are about to explode in ways nobody expects. Drop a comment below and tell me if you think Daisy should tell him the truth, or keep protecting her daughter. I read every single one of your comments. Now let me show you what happens next. Over the following week, 3 more packages arrived. Each one contained a different photograph from that night 7 years ago. Us sitting in a 24-hour cafe. Me falling asleep on his shoulder on a bench. Him looking at me like I was the only person in the world. Whoever was sending them had been following us that entire night. Hwan Gyom hired a private investigator, but the packages were untraceable. They were mailed from different post offices around Seoul, with no fingerprints, no DNA, nothing. Why now? I asked during one of our meetings. If someone has had these photos for 7 years, why send them now? Because you came back into my life, Hwan Gyom said. Someone does not want us working together. Who would care that much? I can think of several people. Business rivals, family members who think I should marry someone from our social class, investors who fear scandal. This is exactly why I should walk away from this contract. No, he said it so firmly I stopped. Whoever is doing this wants to scare you away. I will not give them that satisfaction. This is not about satisfaction, Hwan Gyom. This is about safety. What if they escalate? Then we deal with it together. There is no together. You are my client. Stop hiding behind that word. He stood and walked around his desk until he was right in front of me. We were never just client and planner. We both know that. What do you want me to say? I want you to say that this scares you too. That you are not as unaffected as you pretend to be. That these photos remind you of what we had. I looked up at him. Of course they remind me. But that does not change anything. Why not? Because I have responsibilities you do not understand. Then explain them to me. I wanted to. The words were right there, ready to spill out. I have a daughter and she is yours, and I kept her from you, because I was afraid, and maybe I was wrong, but I did what I thought was right, and now I do not know how to fix it. But before I could speak, his phone rang. He glanced at it, and his jaw tightened. I need to take this. It is my grandmother. He answered in Korean, and I watched his expression shift from annoyance to concern to shock. I will be right there, he said, and hung up. I have to go. Family emergency. Is everything okay? I do not know yet. Can we continue this tomorrow? Of course. Go. He grabbed his jacket and headed for the door, but paused. Daisy, do not disappear. Whatever is happening with these photos, whatever you are afraid of, I need you to promise you will not run. I promise, I said. He left and I stood alone in his office, wondering if I had just lied. That evening I picked up Amara from school and tried to act normal. We stopped for tteokbokki from her favorite street vendor and she told me about her day in a mix of French and Korean. Ji-hoo said his dad is taking him to Jeju Island this weekend, she said around a mouthful of rice cake. Do I have a dad who could take me to Jeju Island? My heart clenched. You have me. Is that not enough? She nodded quickly. You are the best mama in the world. I just wonder sometimes what it would be like to have a dad too. What would you want him to be like? She thought about it seriously. Nice and funny, and someone who makes you happy because you are always working so hard. I am happy, sweetheart. You are happy with me, but you look sad when you think I am not looking. 6 years old and she could already read me perfectly. How about this weekend we go somewhere fun, just the two of us? I suggested, changing the subject. Can we go to the Han River and rent bikes? Absolutely. She cheered and went back to her food, and I tried not to think about how much she deserved a father who would take her to Jeju Island and everywhere else she wanted to go. 2 days later, Hwan Gyum called me at 6 in the morning. I need to see you, he said, without greeting. It is important. What happened? Not over the phone. Can you come to my grandmother's house? Your grandmother's house? Why? Please, Daisy, trust me. An hour later, I stood outside a traditional hanok in one of Seoul's most exclusive neighborhoods. Hwan Gyum opened the door himself. Thank you for coming, he said. He led me inside to a sitting room where an elderly woman sat with perfect posture and sharp eyes. This was clearly the family matriarch. Grandmother, this is Daisy Adeyemi. Daisy, my grandmother, Madame Seo. She studied me with the kind of gaze that saw through every pretense. So you are the one. I am sorry, I said. The one my grandson spent 7 years searching for. I glanced at Hwan Gyum. He gave a slight nod. Sit, child, Madame Seo said. We need to talk. I sat, and she pulled out a small wooden box. 2 days ago, I was organizing old family documents, and I found this. It was hidden in a drawer in my late husband's study. She opened the box and pulled out a piece of paper. Do you recognize this? My heart stopped. It was a note in my handwriting, written in French with English translation below. The note I had left at the university desk 7 years ago, asking them to get a message to Hwan Gyum. The note that was supposed to tell him I had to leave for Lomé, but I would contact him as soon as I could. I wrote this, I whispered. I left it at the International Student Office. I asked them to find him and give him my message. It never reached him, Madame Seo said. Someone intercepted it. Hwan Gyum was staring at the note. You tried to contact me. Of course I tried. I did not just abandon you. Tears burned my eyes. I left my email, my phone number, everything. When I came back to Korea 6 months later, and you did not respond, I thought you had moved on. I never got any of it. His voice was rough. I thought you left without looking back. How did this end up in your grandfather's study? I asked Madame Seo. That is what I have been trying to determine. My husband passed away 5 years ago, but I believe someone close to the family intercepted your communications deliberately. Who would do that? Someone who feared you would be a distraction during the succession battle, she said carefully. Someone who thought they were protecting Hwan Gyum's future by removing you from the equation. The room felt too small. All these years I had believed he chose not to respond. All these years I had built my life around the assumption that our night together had not mattered to him. I had been wrong. There is more, Madame Seo continued. She pulled out several printed emails. I hired someone to recover old deleted messages from the company server. These are emails you sent to his corporate address. All of them were intercepted and deleted before reaching him. Email after email, all from 7 years ago. All of them saying I was trying to reach him, asking if he got my messages. Finally, one saying I understood he had moved on, and I would not bother him anymore. He had never seen any of them. Who did this? Hwan Gyom's voice was cold, in a way I had never heard before. I have my suspicions, his grandmother said, but I wanted to show you both the truth first. You were deliberately kept apart. I could not breathe. Everything I had believed was a lie. The choice I made to keep Amara secret was based on the assumption that he had not wanted me. But he had. He had been searching while I was hiding. Daisy, Hwan Gyom said gently. Are you okay? No. The word came out broken. I need to go. I need to think. Wait. I cannot do this right now. I stood on shaking legs. Thank you for showing me this, Madam Seo, but I need to leave. I walked out before either of them could stop me. I made it to my car before the tears came. 7 years. 7 years of believing I made the right choice. 7 years of raising Amara alone because I thought he did not want us. Someone had stolen that from us. Someone had decided our fate without asking. And now I had to figure out what to do with the truth. That evening I could not focus on anything. Amara asked me 3 times if I was okay, and I kept saying yes, even though it was obvious I was falling apart. After I put her to bed, I sat in the dark and stared at my phone. I needed to tell Hwan Gyom about Amara. The foundation I had built my secret on was crumbling. But before I could gather the courage, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I opened it, and my blood turned to ice. It was a photo of Amara leaving school that afternoon. She was holding my hand and smiling. Below the photo, a message. Pretty daughter. It would be a shame if people started asking questions about her father. I stared at the photo of Amara until my vision blurred. Someone had followed my daughter. Someone had taken a picture of her without my knowledge. Someone was threatening her. Every protective instinct I had roared to life. I called Hwan Gyom immediately. He answered on the second ring. Daisy? They sent a photo of Amara. My voice shook. Someone followed her from school today. Where are you? Home. Lock your doors. I am coming now. Hwan Gyom. They threatened her. They know about her. I know. Just stay there. 20 minutes. He arrived in 15. I heard his car before I saw it, and opened the door before he could knock. He stepped inside and pulled me into a hug without asking permission. I should have pushed him away. Instead, I collapsed against his chest and let myself shake. She is safe, he said quietly. She is inside sleeping and she is safe. For now. But what about tomorrow? What about every day after that? He pulled back enough to look at me. Show me the message. I handed him my phone. He read it, and his expression turned to stone. This is escalating, he said. Whoever is doing this is not just trying to scare you anymore. They are making threats. I should have walked away from this contract the moment I saw you. I should have protected her. This is not your fault. Then whose fault is it? I brought this into our lives. No. Someone with an agenda did this, and we are going to find out who. I sank onto the couch. What if going public is the only way to stop them? What if hiding is making it worse? Going public with what? This was it. The moment I had been avoiding for 7 years. I looked up at him and took a breath. Hwan Gyom, when I left Seoul 7 years ago, I did not know I was pregnant. I found out after I got back to Lomé. I watched understanding dawn on his face, watched him process the timeline, the math, the truth I had been hiding. Amara, he said. Yes. She is mine. Yes. He sat down hard on the chair across from me. 6 years. I have a 6-year-old daughter and you never told me. I tried to contact you when I first found out, but you never responded to any of my messages, and I thought you had moved on. Then I came back to Korea, and I heard your family talking at a business event. They were discussing how any scandal or unexpected child would destroy your position during the succession battle. They talked about how they would handle it if something like that ever surfaced. Hwan Gyom, they were planning how to make problems disappear. So you decided to disappear instead. I decided to protect our daughter from being a pawn in a war she did not ask to be part of. By keeping her from me? By letting me miss 6 years of her life? His voice broke on the last word, and it shattered something in me. I am sorry, I whispered. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought she would be safer if nobody knew. She is my daughter, he said it like he was testing the words. The little girl I met at the hotel. The one who asked me why I was staring at her. I was staring because some part of me recognized her, and I did not understand why. She has your eyes, your smile, your stubborn determination. And you kept her from me. Yes. We sat in silence. I could see him fighting through emotions, anger and hurt and loss, and something else I could not name. Finally, he looked at me. Does she know about me? She knows she has a father. She asks sometimes. I told her that her father is a good person, who would love her if he knew her. Then let me know her. His voice was raw. Let me be her father. It is not that simple. If people find out, the media will destroy us. Whoever is sending these threats will use her against you. Your family will fight to control the narrative. Amara will go from having a quiet, safe life to being Seoul's biggest scandal. Or she will go from having one parent to having two. From wondering about her father to knowing him. From being a secret to being protected by one of the most powerful families in Korea. You make it sound easy. It will not be easy. But it will be right. He leaned forward. Daisy, someone is already using her as leverage. Hiding has not protected her. Maybe it is time to try something else. Like what? Like telling the truth before someone else tells it for us. You want to go public? I want to stop living in fear of what might happen and start controlling what does happen. I thought about Amara asleep in her room, about the life I had built for us, about the walls I had put up to keep us safe. Maybe Hwang Yeom was right. Maybe hiding had only made us more vulnerable. If we do this, I said slowly, we do it carefully. We protect Amara first. Everything else comes second. Agreed. And you need to meet her properly, as her father, before any of this becomes public. When? I need to prepare her. Give me a few days. He nodded and stood. At the door, he paused. Daisy, I am angry that you kept this from me, but I also understand why you were afraid. We will figure this out. After he left, I checked on Amara 3 times before I could breathe normally. She slept peacefully, unaware that her whole world was about to change. The next morning, I got Amara ready for school and drove her myself instead of letting her take the bus. I walked her all the way to her classroom and spoke quietly with her teacher about being vigilant. Is everything okay? The teacher asked. Just some safety concerns. Please call me immediately if anyone unfamiliar tries to approach her or pick her up. I hated putting fear into my voice, but I hated the alternative more. At work, my assistant told me 3 clients had called asking about my connection to CEO Hwang Yeom. Apparently, rumors were starting to circulate in business circles. What did you tell them? I asked. That you are planning his charity gala and everything is professional. Good, keep saying that. But I knew it would not be enough. Rumors had a way of growing legs in Seoul's elite society. That afternoon, another package arrived. This time, it was delivered directly to Hwang Yeom at his office. He called me immediately. They sent a photo of Amara's birth certificate, he said, with her birth date circled, and a note that says, interesting timing. My stomach dropped. How did they get that? I do not know, but they are making it very clear they know everything. What do we do? I am meeting with my head of security and the private investigator. We are going to find whoever is doing this. And in the meantime? In the meantime, we move forward with our plan. I want to meet Amara properly, this weekend. I closed my eyes. Okay, this weekend. That evening I sat Amara down after dinner. She looked at me with curious eyes. Sweetheart, I need to talk to you about something important. Am I in trouble? No, baby, nothing like that. I took her hands. You know how you have asked about your father. She went very still. Yes. What if I told you that I found him, that he has been looking for us too? Her eyes went wide. Really? Where is he? He lives here in Seoul, and he wants to meet you. When? This Saturday, if you want to. She processed this with the seriousness of someone much older than 6. Why did he not know about me before? That is my fault. I made a mistake. I thought I was protecting you, but I was also keeping you apart. I am sorry for that. Is he nice? Very nice. Do I know him? I took a breath. Remember Mr. Seo, the man from Maman's work? Her mouth opened in surprise. Him? Yes, but he said he did not have any children, because he did not know about you. I never told him. She pulled her hands away and I watched her think through this. Why? Because I was scared. His family is very powerful, and I did not want you to get hurt. Was I a secret? The word hit me hard. Yes, but not because I was ashamed, because I wanted to keep you safe. Secrets are bad. You always say lying is wrong. You are right. I should have told the truth a long time ago. I am sorry. She looked down at her lap. Does he want to be my dad now? Very much, but only if you want that too. You get to decide. Can I think about it? Of course. She went to her room and I let her go, even though I wanted to hold her and make everything okay. This was her choice to make. An hour later, she came back out. I will meet him, but if I do not like him, I do not have to see him again, right? Right. Okay then. Saturday morning, I changed my outfit 5 times. Hwan Gyom had suggested meeting at a park, somewhere neutral and open, somewhere Amara could leave if she wanted to. We arrived first and I saw him waiting by the fountain. He was dressed casually, jeans and a sweater, looking more nervous than I had ever seen him. Amara gripped my hand. That is him? That is him. He looks scared. He is. Meeting you is very important to him. We walked over and Hwan Gyum crouched down immediately to be at her eye level. Hi, Amara, he said softly. Hi. Her voice was small. Your mom told you who I am? You are my father. Yes. And I am so sorry I did not know about you sooner. I missed a lot, and I will always regret that. But I am here now if you will let me be. She studied him with those eyes that were so much like his. Mama says you are a good person. I try to be. I am definitely not perfect. Nobody is perfect. That is what Maman says. Your Maman is very smart. I know. She glanced at me, then back at him. Can I ask you questions? Anything you want. Do you like jollof rice? He blinked, surprised. I have never had it. Maman makes the best jollof rice. It is from Togo, where my grandmother lives. I would love to try it sometime. Do you know how to ride a bike? I do. Can you teach me? Mama tries, but she is not very good at it. I laughed despite the tension. That is true. I am terrible at teaching bike riding. I would be honored to teach you, Hwan Gyum said. Amara took a step closer to him. Maman cries sometimes at night. She thinks I do not hear her, but I do. Will you make her stop crying? His eyes met mine over her head, and I saw them shine with unshed tears. I will do everything I can to make both of you happy. Okay. She held out her hand. We can try being a family. He shook her small hand solemnly. Thank you for giving me a chance. She turned to me. Can we go to the playground now? This talking is boring. Sure, baby. She ran ahead, and Hwan Gyum stood next to me. She is incredible. She is. I have missed so much. I know. I am sorry. We will figure this out. He took my hand, and the gesture felt both familiar and new. All of it. We spent 3 hours at the park. Hwan Gyum pushed Amara on the swings and helped her across the monkey bars, and listened to her chatter about school and friends and her favorite books. He was patient and attentive, and everything I had hoped he would be. Watching them together felt like watching puzzle pieces finally fit into place. But I knew the peace would not last. Monday morning, the scandal broke. A celebrity news website published an article with the headline, Billionaire Chairman CO Hwan Gyum's secret child revealed. Below it were photos. Me and Hwan Gyum from 7 years ago, me with Amara at the park, Hwan Gyum meeting Amara on Saturday. Someone had been following us the entire time. The article speculated about our relationship, suggested I had been hiding a love child to extort money later, questioned my character and my business. Within hours, it was everywhere. My phone exploded with calls, clients demanding explanations, reporters asking for comments, my assistant crying because advertisers were pulling out of events. I picked up Amara from school early and took her home. She knew something was wrong. Why are people taking pictures of us? She asked. Because sometimes adults are nosy and rude. Are we in trouble? No, sweetheart. But things are going to be different for a while. People might say things about us. It might be hard. Will they be mean to you? Maybe. She hugged me tight. I will protect you, Maman. My heart broke and mended at the same time. Hwan Gyum called an hour later. I am handling it. How? It is already everywhere. Trust me, I have a plan. What plan? The gala is in 3 days. Let me handle this there. Hwan Gyum, maybe we should just cancel the whole thing. No, running will make it worse. I am going to tell the truth. In front of hundreds of people and international media? Are you insane? Probably, but it is the only way to take control of the narrative. This will destroy your merger. Your investors will panic. Then they panic. I am not sacrificing my family for a business deal. The word family made my throat tight. Are you sure? I have never been more sure of anything. Trust me, Daisy. I do. The next 2 days were chaos. The media camped outside my apartment building. My business was falling apart. 3 major clients canceled their contracts. But Hwang Yom's grandmother called me personally. "Come to my house," she said. "You and Amara. Let my family protect you until this settles." I cannot ask that. You are not asking. I am insisting. My great-granddaughter should know her family. So we went. The CO family home was massive and traditional and filled with staff who treated us like we belonged there. Madame CO doted on Amara, teaching her proper tea ceremony and telling her stories about her ancestors. "You come from strong people on both sides," she told Amara. "Never forget that." Meanwhile, Hwang Yom was working with his legal team and investigators. 2 days before the gala, they found the answer. The person behind everything was a former executive named Kim Jae-sung. He had been passed over during the succession battle 7 years ago and had spent years building resentment. He feared that if Hwang Yom had a stable personal life, his position would become unshakable. So he had sabotaged us, intercepted messages, spread rumors, and now leaked information to try to create a scandal big enough to force Hwang Yom to step down. He wanted chaos, Hwang Yom explained. He thought destroying my personal life would make the board lose confidence in me. "Did it work?" I asked. "Some board members are nervous, but others are rallying behind me. They are tired of Kim's manipulation. What happens now? Now we prove that honesty is stronger than scandal." The night of the gala arrived. I had spent weeks planning every detail, and now I could barely remember any of it. I dressed in a gown that Madame Cello had insisted on buying me. Amara wore a matching dress and looked like a princess. "Are you scared, Maman?" she asked as we got ready. Terrified. Me too. But we are brave together, right? The bravest. The venue was packed. Journalists lined the entrance. Cameras flashed as we arrived. I held Amara's hand and kept my head high. Inside, the ballroom looked exactly how I had envisioned. Elegant, warm, perfect. But I barely noticed. I was too focused on getting Amara to the private family area where Madame CO waited. "You look beautiful," Hwang Yom's grandmother said. "I feel sick. That is normal. Now breathe. My grandson knows what he is doing." The gala began. Speeches, performances, the silent auction. Everything proceeded normally until Hwang Yom took the stage for his closing remarks. I stood in the back with Amara and felt my heart pound. He looked out at the crowd. Hundreds of Seoul's most powerful people, international investors, media from around the world. Then he began to speak. "Thank you all for coming tonight. This gala raises money for educational scholarships, programs that give young people opportunities they might not otherwise have. It is a cause that matters deeply to me, because I believe everyone deserves a chance to build the life they dream of." Standard speech so far, but then he paused. 7 years ago, I met someone at an event like this. She was brilliant and kind, and completely herself in a room full of people trying to be someone else. We spent one night talking about our dreams, our fears, our hopes for the future. Then circumstances separated us, and I spent years searching for her. The room had gone completely silent. What I did not know was that someone deliberately kept us apart. Someone intercepted our communications and decided our fate without our knowledge or consent. That person feared that my happiness would somehow threaten my ability to lead this company. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Recently, that same person has been leaking selective information to the media, trying to create a scandal where there is only truth. So I am here tonight to tell you that truth myself. He looked directly at me. 7 years ago, I fell in love in a single night. The woman I loved left Korea due to a family emergency, and when she tried to contact me, her messages were blocked. When she returned months later, pregnant with my child, she believed I had abandoned her. So she made the difficult choice to raise our daughter alone. Gasps, camera flashes, chaos starting to build. For 6 years, she protected our daughter from the scrutiny she knew would come if our connection became public. She sacrificed her own happiness to give our child a peaceful childhood. She built a successful business, raised an incredible little girl, and never asked me for anything because she believed I did not want them. His voice cracked slightly. She was wrong. I wanted them from the moment I knew they existed, but I lost 6 years because someone thought they knew better than we did about our own lives. He paused and looked around the room. You all know me as Chairman Sewo, as a businessman and investor, but tonight I am standing here as a father, as a man who found the woman he loves again and refuses to hide that love because it makes others uncomfortable. He gestured toward us. Daisy Adeyemi is the best event planner in Seoul. She is also the bravest person I know. And this is our daughter, Amara. She is smart and funny and deserves better than being called a scandal. Amara squeezed my hand. Is he talking about me? Yes, baby. Why is everyone staring? Because your father is very brave. On stage, Hwang Gyum continued. I know this is not the speech you expected tonight. Some of you will judge me for this. Some investors might reconsider our partnerships. The media will analyze every word, but I refuse to let fear control my life anymore. I refuse to sacrifice my family for appearances. He looked directly at one of the board members. To those who think this makes me weak or distracted, I say this. Knowing my daughter exists has made me stronger. Loving these two people has given me something worth protecting. And if you cannot support that, then we should not be in business together anyway. He stepped away from the podium and walked directly toward us. The crowd parted. Cameras followed him. The entire room watched as he approached Amara and knelt down. I am sorry all these people are staring, he said to her. This is probably scary. It is okay, she said. You were telling the truth. Mama says telling the truth is always right, even when it is hard. Your maman is very wise. I know. He smiled and stood, offering me his hand. I took it, and he pulled us both into the center of the room. This is my family, he said simply, and I am done hiding them. For a moment, nothing happened. Then one person started clapping, then another. Then the entire room erupted in applause. Not everyone was clapping. Some board members looked furious. Some investors looked calculating. But enough people were showing support that the tide felt like it was turning. A reporter shouted a question. Miss Adeyemi, why did you keep the child secret? Before I could panic, Hwang Gyum stepped forward. No questions tonight. This is not a press conference. It is a charity gala. Donate generously and enjoy the evening. His security team moved in to create space, and we were escorted to a private room. The moment the door closed, I started shaking. You just told the entire city, I said. I did. Your investors are going to lose their minds. Some will. Others will respect the honesty. The media will tear this apart. Let them. We told our truth. They cannot take that from us. Amara tugged his sleeve. Did I do okay? Was I supposed to say something? He picked her up. You were perfect. You did not have to say anything. Just being you was enough. She laid her head on his shoulder, and my heart melted completely. A knock came at the door. Hwang Gyum's assistant peeked in. Sir, the lead investor from the merger would like to speak with you. Hwang Gyum set Amara down. I will be right back. After he left, Madame Seo entered with tea. That was quite a speech. Is he going to lose everything because of us? I asked. Possibly. Or he might gain something more valuable than money. She poured tea calmly. My grandson has spent his entire life being controlled by expectations. Tonight he chose his own path. Regardless of what happens with business, I am proud of him. 20 minutes later, Hwang Gyum returned. His expression was unreadable. Well? I asked. The merger is moving forward. What? The lead investor said my honesty was refreshing. He has 3 daughters, and said if any of them were in a similar situation, he would want them protected the way I protected you. He respects that I put family first. I could not believe it. You are serious? Completely. Obviously, some board members are angry, and we will have battles ahead. But the immediate crisis is over. Relief hit me so hard I had to sit down. The rest of the gala passed in a blur. Some people congratulated us. Others avoided eye contact. The media got their photos and their story. But through it all, Hwang Gyum kept Amara and me close. He introduced us to people properly. He did not hide or apologize. He just loved us publicly. Near the end of the night, Amara fell asleep on a couch in the private room. Hwang Gyum sat beside her, stroking her hair gently. I missed so much, he said quietly. We have time now, I replied. All the time in the world. Will you let me do this right? Court you properly. Earn your trust. Build a real family. You already started earning my trust. Tonight proved that. He looked at me. I am still angry you kept her from me. That hurt does not disappear overnight. I know. But I also understand why you were scared, and I am willing to work through it if you are. I am. Good. He held out his hand and I took it. Then let us figure this out together. 1 year later, the second annual charity gala was running smoothly. I stood backstage making sure everything stayed on schedule, while Han Guillaume gave the opening speech. Last year I stood on this stage and told you all a truth that changed my life, he said. Tonight I am happy to report that the change was worth it. Applause rippled through the room. Amara appeared beside me in her formal dress, now 7 years old and even more confident. Mama, when do I get to go help greet people? After your father finishes his speech. Our family is so busy, she sighed dramatically. When I grow up I want a simple job, like being a doctor or something. I laughed. Only Amara would think being a doctor was simple. Juan Guillaume finished his speech and came backstage. Ready? For what? I asked. You will see. He took my hand and led me back to the stage. Amara followed, clearly in on whatever was happening. The spotlight hit us, and I froze. Juan Guillaume, what are you doing? Something I should have done 7 years ago. He pulled a small box from his pocket and my heart stopped. Daisy Adeyemi, you have been my partner, my friend, my family. You gave me the greatest gift I could ever receive, and you did it alone, because you thought you had to. I am asking you now to let me be your partner in everything. Marry me? The room erupted, but I barely heard it. I looked at Amara, who was bouncing excitedly. You knew about this? I asked her. He asked my permission first. I said yes, obviously. I looked back at Juan Guillaume. This is insane. Is that a no? No, it is a yes, you impossible man. He slid the ring on my finger and kissed me in front of hundreds of people, and for once I did not care about the cameras or the gossip or anything except this moment. Amara hugged both of us. Finally, now we can officially be a family. We were always a family, Juan Guillaume told her. I know, but now it is official. Later that night, after all the guests left and Amara was asleep in the car, Juan Guillaume and I stood in the empty ballroom. This is where it started, he said, 7 years ago at a charity gala. And look at us now. Do you regret any of it? I thought about the fear, the secrets, the years apart. But I also thought about Amara, and the life we built, and the family we were becoming. I regret the time we lost, I said honestly, but I do not regret protecting her, and I do not regret finding my way back to you. Good, because I am never letting you disappear again. Promise? Promise. We stood there holding hands in an empty ballroom, two people who found each other twice, who fought through secrets and scandal and fear, to build something real. One night with a billionaire 7 years ago changed everything. And now we had every night ahead of us. Before we end, I need you to do something. If this story made you feel anything, if you rooted for Daisy and Juan Guillaume, if you believed in second chances and fighting for love, then subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell because I have more stories that will make your heart race and your soul happy. Drop a comment telling me what moment made you cry or smile. I read every single one, and your support means everything.